don't ignore AI. It's not going away. Understand it. Don't be afraid of it. I don't care if you're a welder or an electrician or a plumber. Don't let this thing get so far in front of you that you don't feel like you can catch up to it. Having said that, right now, AI is not threatening any vocations that my foundation is typically concerned with. So, it's not coming for the electricians or the plumbers or the steam fitters or the pipe fitters or the shipbuilders. Look, I would say if you're looking at a career in the trades, the most useful thing you can learn first is how to weld, because that's like the gateway trade. We've got 3,500 people who have gone through MicroWorks. Probably 40% of them are welders.
Why does it pay so much?
At the moment, it's supply and demand. It's really that simple. And certain elements, there's a danger premium. There's hazard pay. Underwater welding is about the most dangerous thing you can do.
Is that the most dangerous job?
It's up there, man. I mean, you've got to talk about, like the show I was just narrating, Deadliest Catch. That's dangerous. Crab fishing on the Bering Sea is dangerous. Lumberjacking anywhere is dangerous.
What's the main threat in lumberjacking?
The chainsaws themselves are just giant, coiled, razor-sharp, mechanical beasts.
It's not like bears, though, right?
I don't think a lot a lot of people are attacked by bears.
In general.
I mean, really, like if I were a bear, and I saw a lumberjack with a chainsaw, I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to stick
another day.
Yeah, you know what? I'm a roots and berries kind of bear.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, you can be a couple hundred feet underwater. You're at real depth sometimes in a dry suit. You've got air being pumped in, compressed air.
How much do underwater welders make?
Again, it's all over the map, but there was a guy a couple years ago who I gave maybe $6,000 to. He filled out a work ethic scholarship, applied for money from my foundation, and his resume was great. His references were great. Everything about it was great. I couldn't give him the money fast enough. And I stay in touch with a lot of these people because I want to interview them later. They can answer that question better than I can. But this guy fell off the radar. I didn't know what had happened to him. His name's Jake. And anyhow, he came back on the radar a few years later, and I called him because we were doing a new series of commercials for MicroWorks, and I like to feature the people that we've actually assisted in these things. And I thought he'd be good. And I said, "How's it going?" He said, "How's it going? I'll tell you how it's going. You gave me what you gave me. MIG welding and TIG welding for the first year. I got promoted. Then I got promoted again. And then about 14 months in, I fell in love with this girl, and I wanted to marry her, but I was still, I was making maybe $70,000 a year. So I knew a guy who got me in an underwater welding program. And as it turns out, I was pretty good at it. And so I did that for a year and was making about 140,000. And then something opened up overseas, Gulf of Oman, pipeline underwater, 320 grand, tax-free.
Wow.
So he says, "How's it going?" I was over there almost 3 years. I got $1 million in the bank. First kid's on the way.
I'll tell you what, though. Like, if anyone's going to make that kind of money,
God, that's
like, please take it. Yeah. Like, you know what? Like, if I need a reduction in pay because some underwater welders, you know what I mean? I have no problem with those guys.
So here's the better answer to your earlier question. And don't let me boomer out on your audience, but that guy, compared to any one of the 7 million we were discussing before, who do you want to help?
Yeah, even if he makes $300,000 more a year than those, it's like,
again, no lectures, no sermons, but man, it's a scary, uncertain time for a lot of people. I get it, but to find men and women who are affirmatively, it's the bottom of the ninth. The bases are loaded. You're up by 1. You want the ball. I want that guy. I want that. I want to do what I can to help those people. Because look, there are lots of scholarship programs out there. Geez, for everything, academic, artistic, athletic.
So what should the role of government be in helping and supporting those people? Because it seems like at the same time, if there's too much of a safety net, it might discourage some of that risk taking.
So this is the essential problem. If everybody was like Jake, or if everybody was like the 7 million who have just clocked out, I could answer the question and say, all right, as an elected official, I got to figure out how to fix a problem that could likely lead to some kind of existential thing. I'm not in that position. And the state of play is not that codified, right? So I'll tell you what I told the feds 15 years ago. I started MicroWorks 18 years ago on Labor Day. I went to Congress 15 years ago and said, look, guys, I'm not an expert, but Obama had just announced 3 million shovel-ready jobs. So this was in 2009. And you can find this online. I wrote an open letter to President Obama, and I said, look, I love the idea that, you're going to create 3 million shovel-ready jobs. But from what I've seen, it's going to be a hard sell to a country that's not currently super excited about picking up a shovel. Like, you need better PR. You're going to need to explain what these jobs are. You're going to need to explain why they're valuable and how they can get you to a 6-figure income quick, because they can. But you're going to have to sell that. You got to sell the jobs. You can't just create them and wait for them to be filled. And around the same time, I went to Congress to say, look, I don't think the ultimate solution to the skills gap is going to be .gov, but I don't think there's going to be a solution without it. So there's so many things you guys can do to reinvigorate the trades. And to the extent that my foundation can help, I'm at your disposal. It's funny, no one disagreed with me. I got calls from both sides of the aisle going, hey, man, yeah, we dig what you're screaming, let's stay in touch, whatever. 2 years later, I went back to the Senate, same basic pitch. Didn't go anywhere. Last week, I was in the Pentagon. It took 15 years, but they got back to me with an answer to your question, which was basically, here's what the government can do. They've launched their own site called buildfreedom.us. It has like 400,000 open positions there, many of which are AI-proof, 6-figure jobs. They gave me $10 million for my foundation, and I had a bunch of money saved up over the years. So we have millions of dollars earmarked for men and women who specifically want to learn a skill that's in demand. And the government is throwing gas on that fire and saying, as you look at all the opportunities in the skilled trades all over the country, don't forget about the ones in the DIB, the Defense Industrial Base, because I got news for you, man. The people who build our submarines, they're freaking out. They need 400,000 welders in the next 7-8 years. They have no idea where to get them.
Should we be concerned about competing with other countries like China?
Yeah. China built 1,000 ships last year. We built 3.
And why is that? Is that a work ethic thing? Is that a cultural thing that maybe those skills are more appreciated over there? Or is it just like a red tape policy issue?
I think that is a government question, because shipbuilding is its own very specific thing. And those contracts can go to any number of places for a lot of reasons. And you could look at organized labor, unions. You can look at importing steel. You can look at all kinds of different factors that might make it a lot more efficacious to give the business to South Korea. China's not building our ships. South Korea is. So getting that industry back in this country is something this administration wants to do. They want to reshore. They want to reindustrialize. And look, just to be clear and not make it too political, I told President Obama 15 years ago, I'm like, look, man, I'm rooting for you. I want to see this work. I care about our country, and I love the idea of closing the skills gap and making a more persuasive case for the trades. 7 months ago, I was with this president in Pittsburgh for this energy conference, along with 35 CEOs who basically run the country right now. I was literally in the room when those CEOs pledged $92 billion to Pennsylvania alone to build out data centers primarily in the next few years. And when it was my turn to talk, I said the same thing. I'm like, I'm rooting for this president. I want to see manufacturing reinvigorated. I want to see all this work brought back. But, and this is where I don't know if I'll be invited back, but I said, you're going to create 2 million jobs in manufacturing. What about the 480,000 jobs in manufacturing right now that we can't fill? What about that? What about the fact that for every 5 tradespeople who retire, 2 replace them? It's been that way for 12 years. 5 out, 2 in. I don't have to be an economist to tell you that that's not sustainable.
And really quick, I just want to say that most people know that they should have an LLC, but they keep pushing it off because it sounds super complicated. Well, that's why we partnered with Northwest Registered Agent. They make the entire process so simple that you could just get it done today.
For $39 plus state fees, Northwest forms your LLC and handles the state filings for you.
You get your operating agreement, member certificates, and banking resolutions, which is all the paperwork that actually makes it official.
And that's all that, plus a free domain, email, phone line, brand protection, and mail forwarding are bundled in so your business is ready to operate in the same day.
And your home address never goes on the public record. Northwest uses their own address in your filings instead of yours.
So if forming an LLC has been sitting on your to-do list for long enough, today is the day. Just go to northwestregisteredagent.com to get started.
That's northwestregisteredagent.com, or click the link down below in the description to get your LLC filed.
Thank you to Northwest Registered Agent for sponsoring this episode, and back to the podcast.